a big hunk of chuck steak that I bought yesterday at Sam's. I got 2 of these for $30. So this is about a little over 3 pounds, and the cost of it's going to be, it's about 15 bucks. So 2 or 3 meals is a very inexpensive meal. Okay, you know what this means. Good morning, everybody, and what we're going to do here is try out a method that was suggested in our new forum about a way to sous vide chuck steak and then sear it and have it come out like a ribeye. You know, I've never tried that, and the reason I never tried it is because it requires that you sous vide this thing. I've heard anywhere from 24 hours up to 3 days, and you know, this little sous vide machine does make some noise, but I'm going to put up with it. It's not that bad, and I'm going to try it. I'm going to try it for 24 hours, and then we'll come back and see exactly what happens. And I'm not going to sear this first. I am going to salt it, however. So what I have here is a big hunk of chuck steak that I bought yesterday at Sam's. I got 2 of these for $30. So this is about a little over 3 pounds, and the cost of it's going to be, it's about 15 bucks. So 2 or 3 meals is a very inexpensive meal. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this big hunk of meat, and we're going to try this anyway, because everybody shows sous videing in plastic, but the problem with sous videing in plastic is that you end up with plastics getting into your food, and you don't want that. So we're going to just salt this. I don't know, this doesn't look really big enough. One of the problems is going to be getting it all underwater, but we'll give it a try and see if we can fit it into this bag. Worst comes to worst, I have 2 of these bags. I can cut this thing in half and put half in this bag and half in the other bag and put them both in the water. But what I'm going to try first is try to see what happens if I try to stuff this into this one bag, because that'd make it a lot easier to do. And I don't think it's looking very promising, to tell you the truth. But we'll give it a whirl and see. Man, this is a big hunk of meat. Whoa, look at that. Now we got to try to turn it sideways in here so that it'll stay down under the water with the top of the bag. Whoa, I think we're actually going to be able to do this. Yes. Look at that. Okay, so I'm going to squish it down as much as I can. And let's open the sous vide thing. And what I need to do is I need to adjust this rack out a little bit for this big piece of meat. These racks that come with the with this sous vide thing. And we try to make sure we get it underwater, and I think we got it. Look at that. Okay. So we got to set our timer here for 24 hours. So we'll hold the plus button down and count off 24 hours. There it goes, and we'll press start. And that was the prep. So that was pretty quick. So I will see you guys tomorrow morning. Well, good morning, everybody. It's Mitch. And today's the day I've been waiting for. We're going to take this chuck roast or chuck steak out of the sous vide machine. It's been in there for 24 hours. We're going to pat it off. We're going to cut a hunk off of it. And we're going to sear it in butter just like we would a ribeye. And then we're going to cut into it and taste it and see if indeed 24 hours was enough, or we need to try it again and do 72 hours in the sous vide. But hopefully this 24 hours will be enough, and if it works, we're having ourselves better than a pound of steak here for less than $5. So keep your fingers crossed and we'll see what happens. Okay, here we are. So let's unplug the sous vide, and we'll reach in here and grab our 3+ pounds of chuck. And the first thing I'll do, get this out of the way. All right, let's get some paper towels to blot it off. Because if you're going to sear something, you got to make sure it's fairly dry. All right, I'm going to turn this on to high. I'm going to get some butter. Put a chunk of butter into the carbon steel pan. Now we're going to reach in here with these tongs, get this hunk of meat out of the sous vide bag. Wow, look at that thing. And we're going to put it down on the paper towel. It certainly seems to be cooked tender enough, and it's already been salted, so I'm not going to add any more salt to it, but get it dry. And we'll go ahead and cut this. Which is about, I would say about a third of it, maybe a little more. Let's see what it looks like. So you can see that it's a nice medium rare all the way through. So now all we have to do is sear it. So let's turn the camera around, get it on the pan here. And let's sear it off. Let's start with this side. Better turn on the range hood. This is a hunk of meat here. I mean, it may not look real big for a steak, but it is very thick. And the good thing about the sous vide is, even though it's as thick as it is, it's still cooked pretty evenly all the way through. And I hope this works, because I think if you have to leave that sous vide thing run for 3 days, that's going to be kind of a detriment to whether this is actually indeed worth all the effort to save a few bucks over what a ribeye might cost. But the goal here is to figure out as many ways as we can to do this carnivore diet as inexpensively as we can, because that seems to be one of the major objections to this. Is people are saying, I can't do that carnivore thing. Meat is way too expensive. Now, you and I all know that most of those people actually spend more money on food than we do, but it is a reasonable objection. So I'm trying to put out more and more videos showing that it is possible to have a carnivore meal for $5 or less. Well, that looks nice and seared. It'll be interesting to see how tender this really is. All right, it's gonna probably do it. So we will put it on our plate here. Take this pan off. Pour the butter over it, because why not? And let it rest for a couple of minutes, although it doesn't have to rest a long time, because it's not that hot inside. It's not going to continue to cook. All right. So let's cut this up a little bit and see what happens. All right, drum roll, please. Wow. That's not bad. It's perfectly salted, so the amount of salt that we put on this thing was just right, and the salt did cook into the meat after 24 hours in the sous vide. It's maybe not quite as tender as some of the better cuts of prime rib or ribeye, but it is more than acceptable and delicious for a meal. It's every bit as tender, if not more tender, than a top quality, say, sirloin, and even fairly close to what a ribeye is. Not a ribeye, I mean a New York strip. But that is not bad and something that I'm going to add to my repertoire of different ways to prepare the same food that we eat every day, and that's beef. So before I start chewing on this, let me say I think this experiment was very successful in my estimation, and I'm going to go ahead and enjoy this 1 pound of delicious, I'll call it a steak, that cost me less than $5. So take the rest of the day off, go to Sam's, try to scarf up some marked down chucks, and if you got a sous vide thing, try this yourself. If you don't have a sous vide thing, I have a list of all of the cooking stuff that I use, the tools, the spices, everything, in the show notes down below. They're Amazon links, so go ahead, check them out if you want to. Eat meat.